What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about the Team Rocket event happening right now in Pokemon Go. I talked about it a little bit a couple of days ago, how I thought this was going to be a very good Team Rocket event, maybe one of the best that we've ever had, but that was before I even heard about some of the extra stuff we're going to be getting right now. Now the event is out in parts of the world while I'm making this video. I know what the team leaders are going to be. I know some of the Pokemon in the grunts, and even more events have been released and info on what's going to be happening later on this week that is going to be absolutely game-changing. If you want to see how Shadow Diggersby and Shadow Superior are going to perform, I made a video about it just earlier this week. Make sure to check that out. But today I want to talk about some of the newest information that we have as of today. So the first thing that I really want to talk about is the new team leaders here. This is big. Some of the Pokemon that we really wanted to see in grunts again are actually back in the Team Rocket leaders. And what this means is not only can they be shiny, but they can be very easily hunted. Let's take a look right now at what the leaders are going to be having here. It is exactly what we wanted to see. Cliff is going to be having that Shadow Cubone, a Pokemon I don't even have access to. I'm going to be going out of my way to get as many Cubones as I can to make sure I have one of those for Open Great League. This Pokemon has been a monster for months, ever since the Mudsap and Bone Club buffs. I'm going to be able to have one myself. Everyone can have one. Make sure to grind these out before the ability to TM frustration goes away. This Pokemon is one of, if not honestly, the best Shadow right now in Open Great League. You absolutely need one of them. But right next to it, Sierra, running another very interesting Pokemon on her lineup. She has access to Skorupi. This Pokemon is once again one of, if not just the best Shadow Pokemon in Open Great League. You can now get a shiny Shadow Drapion. I can only imagine that thing looks very, very cool, and it's also a safe pick, one of the strongest Pokemon to have, and a Pokemon that you absolutely need to have in your collection if you don't already have one. And then obviously Arlo here, having another Dark and Poison type Pokemon. It's interesting that Shadow Grimer and Shadow Drapion are in rotation at the same time. Grimer is also kind of a viable Pokemon. It's not the best for PvP, but it's a very cool shiny and a Pokemon that, I mean, if I get a shiny of, I'm not going to be disappointed. This is probably the best rotation of team leaders for PvP we've ever had. I'm trying to think back on different rotations. Yeah, I honestly can't think of a single rotation that's as good as this as far as meta Shadow Pokemon go in the team leaders. But that's not all. There's Pokemon in Team Rocket grunts right now that have not been around for years. Spheal and Horsey have been reported to be back in rotation. These Pokemon have been fantastic in limited metas. I mean, right now in the Color Cup, you have Shadow Kingdra everywhere. If you can get a Shadow Kingdra right now, make sure you team it off. It's a fantastic Pokemon. It's not the best for Open Great League right now, but maybe down the line, they could give it a buff. Honestly, giving it a cheaper charge move could potentially make it a very good Open Great League Pokemon. And Spheal as well, we've had Walrein metas in the past. This Pokemon is one of the best Ice and Water type Pokemon. Maybe it can get a buff as well, or maybe the meta is just going to shift in a way that Walrein would be once again viable. But either way, Horsey and Spheal are very strong Pokemon. If you can find them in grunts before the ability to TM away frustration goes away, make sure that you're able to get a couple in your collection. These Pokemon are fantastic for PvP, and they might be even better in the future. But that's not all. There's going to be something interesting happening with Shadow Raids during this event. Normally, Shadow Raids are only able to be done in person, meaning you have to use paid passes and walk up to the gym in person to be able to fight those Pokemon. But during this event, and this event only, at least for now, Shadow Pokemon from raids can be done remotely. They are going to have a wider variance of attack, defense, and HP. What this means is normally Shadow Raids have a floor of 6, 6, 6. So 6 attack, 6 defense, and 6 HP are the minimum that you can get. Obviously, as a PvP player, you know that if you want to have a high rank Pokemon for Great League, you want to have 0 attack. And because of this floor, normally it's kind of hard to actually get a good one from a raid. But thanks to this variance, you might be able to get higher ranked Pokemon than you would normally be able to. So the Pokemon that you can actually take advantage of this with are going to be Nidoran male and female here, which can be kind of good, I guess, in the future. They're not great right now, but Nidoqueen has been good in the past. And then Shadow Totodile, obviously Shadow Feraligatr, one of the best Pokemon out there. Shadow Ralts as well. It's been in rotation this whole last couple of months, so probably not the most important. But then also Electabuzz, Magmar, and Wobbuffet. Kind of interesting Pokemon to have access to. Nothing too crazy as far as these raids go, but being able to remote them and having that wider variance is going to be absolutely critical to making it better to grind them out for PvP. But that's not the only bit of news here as far as Shadow Raids go. There's going to be a Ho-Oh raid day, which is going to be able to take advantage of the ability to remote raid these Shadow Pokemon. Ho-Oh is one of the best Pokemon in Master League right now. I personally don't even have a good one. So being able to remote this, get a lot of candies for it, and because Shadows can be purified, you can get a much higher chance of getting a perfect Pokemon. This is going to be one of the best ways to get a Ho-Oh for the Go Battle League. So as far as the bonuses go for this Ho-Oh raid day, obviously you get the 5 free raid passes, combined with the 2 that you normally get every day, so 7 free in-person Ho-Oh raids. Increased chance of getting a shiny Ho-Oh from the raids, always fun. And also, you can remote raid them just like the other Shadow Raids I was talking about. But not only that, Ho-Oh caught with the Shadow Raids are going to be able to have a higher attack, defense, and HP. Now, what this means is normally because of that 666 limit, Shadow Raids don't have that good of a chance of purifying to become a perfect Pokemon, but depending on how high this floor is going to be, getting a perfect Ho-Oh is going to be actually pretty easy depending on what it's going to be. A 10-10-10 floor, if it goes up to regular raid standards, it's going to be remarkably easy to get a 13-13-13 or above Ho-Oh that can purify into a perfect. Looks like you'll also be able to remote raid 20 times. Obviously, remote raiding is expensive. It's not the best way to spend money in the game, but if you don't have access to local communities, being able to do 20 Shadow Ho-Oh raids will mean that no matter where you are, you would be able to have a chance of getting this, and I just like that change. I think that honestly being able to remote raid Shadow Pokemon, I don't know why you can't in the first place. I'm glad that they're experimenting with this now. Hopefully the reception is going to be positive and Niantic will keep this in the future. I kind of like this mechanic. I think that this is going to change the way a lot of people are going to interact with these Shadow Raids, and because of these kind of different changes with these IV floors having more variants, that could also be a very big step in the right direction to making PvP IV Pokemon a lot more accessible. So as far as PvP is concerned, I think this is the best new Team Rocket event that we've really ever had. There's going to be new good Pokemon and Grunts with the Shadow Snivy and the Shadow Bunnelby. You also have some returning Pokemon like Spheal and Horsey and Grunts, and then the leaders with Scorpy and with Cubone as well. It's basically everything I could have asked for in this event. Being able to TM off frustration as well is always going to come with these events. I always love being able to do that. Make sure to TM off all of the Pokemon you saved up. You never want to forget that before the event ends. And because all of these Shadow Raid changes are happening as well, I'm actually going to be potentially getting a Ho-Oh finally from Ashley. I'm going to be very happy about that. And honestly, these events that we've had at the start of the year have all been very good. We've had a lot of Stardust bonuses, a lot of XP bonuses. Now with this Fashion Week Taken Over event being so good, honestly, this is probably about as good of a start to the year as they possibly could have had. Corviknight's still coming out in a couple of days. I am a little bit scared about that Pokemon. It looks very strong. I made another video about that. If you want to see how Corviknight's going to be when it releases, I hope they end up nerfing it before it comes out. It's going to be really stupid if they keep it as the way that it is right now, but I mean, even if they don't, a lot of cool stuff as far as the PvP community is concerned. Make sure you're out there grinding grunts during this week. It's going to be one of the most important events of the year, so make sure to get out there and catch some shadows. You know, I'm not shy to call Niantic out whenever they make a bad event or something, but I think it's also equally as important whenever they make events like this that it is so good for the player base to recognize them, to appreciate them when we have them, because I don't think that we really could have asked for a much better event than this. We have returning Shadow Pokemon that we absolutely needed to see back, you know, especially the Cubones and the Scorpies. Those Pokemon are some of the best picks in the game, so being able to have access to them, and not only that, to be able to easily grind them through team leaders, I think that is a fantastic decision. And then also to have the good shadows in the grunts as well, the Spheals, the Horsies, probably a lot of other things as well that we haven't quite yet seen. And then just all the Stardust events and stuff that we've had at the start of the year too. You know, I think it's just good to take a moment and appreciate what we have right now, because these events have honestly been very good. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, going over events and seeing what Pokemon for PvP are coming out and analyzing them, make sure to subscribe. I'm also going to be uploading a lot more gameplay videos to the channel. If you want to see more PvP content, I will have a lot more of that as well. So thank you again for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you in the next one.